D, wait for it, delightful.
I got the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds, and welcome to my week in review, where I come to you every Sunday with 3 entertainment stories that I personally find interesting, and then we discuss them down below. Now, also down below, you can find the articles that I read to bring you this story, this video. And you can read them and, you know, come up with your own opinion or whatnot, or you can just listen to me because I'm going to break them all down and everything while giving my opinion and everything. So, but before I get started on this, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like myself usually get pushed to the back of the line. So I please ask that you like, share, and subscribe. And I thank you in advance. So why don't we go ahead and get started? For my first story of this week, it has been made official that Timothée Chalamet is going to play Willy Wonka. Now he's playing this. Originally, he was in talks with Warner Brothers, and it was between him and Chalamet and Tom Holland. Now. I personally didn't care enough to really like. I like both of them. I mean, I think Tom Holland is more of like could pull in the box office over Timothée Chalamet, just because, you know, Timothée Chalamet's box office isn't exactly like the best, if you get what I'm saying. But you know, whatever. So originally Gene Wilder had played Willy Wonka in the film versions, and then Johnny Depp took a stab at it. And the latter, he got fired from Warner Brothers. You know, justice for Johnny. I think that it was unjustified that he got fired from Warner Brothers, from the Fantastic Beasts franchise. And the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise and stuff. But, you know, that's for another video. So he is set to be in Dune later this year. And we'll see how, you know, that movie does. Now, that's going to be a day and date release movie where it goes to the theaters and then also on HBO Max. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Now, this movie is going to be a prequel, and it's going to be a young Wonka. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that storyline. I'm very curious as to how that goes down, and I'll talk about that also in a little bit later. But like I said before, he has a great fan base online. Now, that's where he gets most of his fan base. But let's see if they turn out for Dune. And because lately his box office is not the best. You know, his fans, they show up on Twitter and stuff, and they're all like, "Oh, Timothée Chalamet, he's so hot," and everything. But they don't show up to his movies to make those movies like really like go boom and everything. So it's like, yeah, hire Timothée Chalamet because I think he's a good actor and he's good looking, but he just doesn't draw on the box office. And I go, well, then why hire him? You know, that's what you want. But now he is going to be singing and dancing in this, which will be very interesting. He did go to a performing arts high school, which I found out was very interesting. I didn't know that about him, but and it'll also be interesting to see him sing and dance. We got a little bit of his dancing in Little Women when him and Saoirse Ronan's character were dancing at that party. That was super fun. And it'll be interesting to see him in this. Now, Paul King will direct this, and Simon Farnaby will be the writer on this. Now, Paul King did write Paddington 2, and I like both the Paddington movies. I think they're absolutely super fun. And he directed the second one, which I thought that one was very pink, and it was fun. I like both of those movies. So yeah, so we'll see how he does on this. Now, David Heyman is going to be the producer. Now, you may remember David Heyman because he produces the Harry Potter movies. Of course, I know David Heyman because I'm a huge Potterhead, and I love those movies. So. And the Fantastic Beasts series hasn't been doing the best, but we'll see how it does going forward with this next installment being co-written with J.K. Rowling and Steve Knowles, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyways, So I'm curious to see what he'll look like. Will they go with a Gene Wilder kind of thing with more matted colors, kind of different fabrics or whatever? Or will they go with a Johnny Depp where it's more flair and very colorful and velvety and stuff? It'll be interesting to see what they do there. Plus, I would like to see how he meets the Oompa Loompas and everything. Because I did read the book way back in the day. Like, it's been so long. I think I read it in like the 6th grade or whatnot, because it's not a very long book, and it's definitely written for children, or at least I remember it being written for children. One thing that I do remember is the vicious Canid. They go up into space or whatnot, and after, if you remember from the first movie, at the end they go up in that rocket, and that's where the movie ends. But in the book, that's not where the book ends. There's a vicious Canid, and it'll be curious to see how much of the past they do with this young Wonka. Like we kind of got a glimpse of that in Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka movie, but it would be interesting to see that, just because I would like to see, how he met the Oompa Loompas, how he started his candy factory, what was his life before the candy factory, will there be creatures like this vicious Canid kind of thing, which I really hope to see it, because they've never done that or anything close to or whatnot in the movies. So it'll just be interesting to see what they do. It will be also interesting to see how Timothée Chalamet plays this character. Will he play him, kind of like Gene Wilder did, where he had somber moments, but yet kind of, kooky, weird ones? Or will he just be kooky and weird all the time, like Johnny Depp's character? Like I said, it'll just be interesting to see that, and to see what kind of choices they make with that. So that is my first story of the week. So for my second story of the week, okay, so the CW is home to Batwoman, Supergirl, Superman and Lois, Legends of Tomorrow, The Flash, all those shows. And they're based on DC comic books. And that they just can't seem to get it right, in my opinion. Well, except for Superman and Lois, they're actually doing really good with that show, surprisingly. It took a while, and then they finally got it right, and then they gave it a 2-month break and didn't, hype up its return, and lost like half of its viewers. And they always find a way to mess things up. And even if they're doing it right, well, let's just, see how much how much they get it right. They're always like, well, let's see how much we can mess this good thing up and everything. And so, I think all their CWs start out good and strong, and then they just go downhill, except for Batwoman. Batwoman season 1 sucked. Batwoman season 2 sucks. Anyways, so and like I said, it just keeps getting worse. And, and that brings me to this different genre. Well, it's kind of the same genre. It kind of deals with superheroes. And that is that the Powerpuff Girls, if you didn't know, I did a video on that a while ago. You can check it out up here. Anything that I mentioned that I did a while ago, I'll leave in the iCard section. But I mentioned it a while ago. But I do think that it's funny that the CW has managed to make this so bad that they have to rework it as, there was a pilot that everyone was laughing at, and they were showing pictures of the pilot on social media, and fans were not having, they were not having it. Okay. So now I'm guessing the screenings weren't having it either. And they're just trashing that pilot, and they were completely, so because they were trashing that pilot, they were completely reworking it. It's so much right now that this project is in limbo. And I think that I think it'll still come out. But they're just keeping, and then they are keeping all of the cast members, everybody that's playing playing in the movie, which some of the cast members I don't like, but it's fine. And all those guys are coming back to reshoot the pilot. And what's funny is the CW greenlit this pilot instantly, and we want to show, and they're all like, we want to show, and they wanted this show out there, whatnot, and nobody was looking for this show. And they were all like, let's see how the test screenings do. And the test screenings sucked, and they must have had terrible reactions to the show, because it's been a long time since I've seen a pilot get thrown out completely and redone, and it's getting completely reworked. And it's pretty strange until you take a look at the script, which was leaked over Reset era, and some interesting stuff went down commentary wise on it, and some of the Reset area leaked script for that CW Powerpuff Girls pilot was leaked on Twitter. Some of it got on Twitter. And a Twitter account said it's basically the Powerpuff Girls, but they get down. Ooh. And the quote was, nobody wants to see a show called Powerpuff Girls, but they and they've basically completely missed the mark. And here's some of the dialogue. I'm pulling up some of the dialogue right now. And I'm just going to read it to you to show you how horrible it is. Okay, so here it is. Bubbles. Blossom's fine. I saw her on Insta and that she has a boyfriend. I saw on her LinkedIn that she got promoted. And I saw on Facebook that she still talks to Grandpa despite their political differences. Buttercup. Coming back here is probably triggering for her. Bubbles. Why? Because she's the one who killed Mojo. I mean, moveon.org. What is that? That's here's another one. Buttercup. Bloss, wake up, or we'll leak your nudes everywhere. Off Bubbles' confusion. That worked on you once. Like, what? Okay, so here's the last one that I want to read to you. Oh, this is horrible. Okay. Look, we love being Powerpuff Girls, but sometimes we wanted to be other things. Like, we want to be other things too. Like in Dirty Dancing, Baby wanted to join the Peace Corps, but she also wanted to be a fancy slut, and her dad didn't get it. What? And then Drake says, emotional. Jerry Orbach was doing his best to understand. And then it says Blossom heads upstairs where the bumping sound continues from Buttercup's room, then abruptly stops. Blossom opens the door and finds Buttercup in bed with Macy, the woman she eyed at the bar the night before. They've just finished. Blossom, oh God, I'm sorry. Buttercup, it's fine. To Macy, we're done, right? Macy, I'd say 6 times is enough. What is going on here? Like, very edgy. That's it's getting pretty roasted. This is pretty. There was a pretty viral tweet online, and I would put it up on here, but it got deleted. It's been that tweet has been deleted. But that account completely ripped it to shreds, and deservedly so. It's pretty terrible. Now the reason they deleted that tweet was because it had a link to the leaked script, the pilot script. Now the CW has been copyright striking / claiming people left and right, trying to get rid of this script. Like they have they're trying to literally make sure that no one can find it. But I found a way. Now I haven't read the whole thing. This was enough for me right now. But I'm probably going to read it later. And I think that was enough for test audiences, because it's pretty rare that something like this happens. The show's already written agreement, but it's already written, but they're reworking it completely after already filming an entire pilot. It's very strange. So like I said, that this tells me that test audiences hated it and they're scrambling to try to salvage this idea. And I don't see how the CW, how are you still managing to get funding for these types of shows that you endlessly up is beyond me. I don't understand it. Like, this is a lot. And you guys, like, seriously, like, the CW can't get a handle on stuff, in my opinion. They just, when it comes to shows, they're just doing a bad job. They're going to add that Naomi show on there. I mean, that's not going to do that great. I can tell you that right now. So, all right. So that's my second story of the day. So for my third and final story of the day, so it looks like they finally cast Craven the Hunter in the Craven the Hunter solo movie, and they have cast Aaron Taylor Johnson. Now, who is Aaron Taylor Johnson? Aaron Taylor Johnson. You might know him from movies as Kick-Ass, and then he was also in The Nowhere Boys. And then he was also in Avengers Age of Ultron, where he played Quicksilver. Now, he didn't make a cameo in the WandaVision show, but he did make an appearance in that movie or whatnot. Of course he did, because he played a role. Duh. So this movie is going to be directed by J.C. Chandler, and we'll see how he does. Now, if you have been watching my channel or anybody else's channel that's really talked about this, you might remember that Ryan Coogler really wanted Craven the Hunter for Black Panther 1. He wanted to do a commentary on big game hunting in Africa. And I thought that that was clever. I still think it's clever. And I hope that, I really wish that Marvel would let him do it. Like, you know, try to work something out with Sony. But I don't think they're going to let him do it, just because they have a deal where if you use their characters, then they get to distribute, which means they're going to make money off of it. And Black Panther was $1 billion movie, and Disney does not want to lose out on that $1 billion. So they're like, no, thank you. So like I said, this is going to be a solo movie, kind of like Venom was, and kind of like the upcoming Morbius movie is. And I have to be honest, Venom was fine. Like, Venom wasn't like a bad movie. It just wasn't like, you know, it's not my favorite. And I don't like this anti-hero bad guys. They're trying to take all these villains from Spider-Man's universe and make them anti-heroes. Like, nobody wants to see that. I want to see a bad guy. Like, I just want to see a straight up bad guy, you know, a villain, a horrible person. So Craven the Hunter, I don't see how you could sympathize with someone that hunts animals, you know? I mean, whatever. Anyways, so who is Craven the Hunter? His name is Sergei Kravenov, and he is Russian, and he is from a Russian noble family. And he's also a big game hunter. Now, his family, you know, lost their nobleship after the Tsar Nicholas II was overthrown during the revolution. I don't remember what the revolution is called off the top of my head. And so he became a big game hunter, and he started hunting big game, but he would only use either his bare hands, a knife, or a spear, because he just felt that was, you know, how you should kill your prey, kind of thing. But then he got bored with that, and his brother, who is a chameleon, but like the early chameleon, he challenged him to hunt down Spider-Man because he was all bored and stuff. So he hunted down Spider-Man, but he failed. So then he turned to using a gun for one. And then he also got the help of a witch doctor who made this like little potion. And that gave him powers. It gave him ultra instincts, enhanced physical attributes, skilled tactician, tracker, and hand-to-hand combats. You know, so he's got physical strength. He can run really fast and everything. So he's like the perfect hunter kind of thing. So, who will Spider-Man be in this movie? I hope so, because if not, what's the point? Who is he going to be hunting in this movie? That's the big game. Like, that's my whole thing. Like, without Spider-Man, these movies really aren't the best, and you need a protagonist, and you're making these villains the protagonist, and they're just horrible people, in my opinion. But we'll see how all this turns out, and we'll see how Aaron Taylor Johnson does in this role. I think this is a good casting call. If you remember, I said that they were in talks and they offered Keanu Reeves the role, and I didn't think he should take it just because I thought it was kind of below him. But I'm fine with Aaron Taylor Johnson getting it. You know, he does a really good accent, so he'll probably do a good job here. And we'll see how this all plays out and how this movie looks / plays out and everything. There's been some fan art up as of now, and I'll put some of that up right now. But the fan art looks good, but we'll see how the movie turns out. So those are my 3 stories. Tell me, what do you guys think about this? How do you feel about Timothée Chalamet getting the Willy Wonka gig? Do you think he'll play it right? How do you think he'll do the singing and dancing part? What kind of look do you think they're going to go for? And are you interested to see his backstory? And what part of that backstory are you most interested in seeing? How do you feel about the Powerpuff Girls pilot just getting completely reworked? They're like starting from zero and just working the way up to try to make it, to salvage this nonsense. I mean, you think it'll be good? Do you think they'll just get rid of it? Do you want to see that pilot that was shot, that test screenings got to see? yeah, all that good stuff. And then how do you feel about Aaron Taylor Johnson being cast as Craven the Hunter? Do you think this was a good pick? Do you think he'll look good as Craven the Hunter? Do you think he's going to bulk up and everything? Do you think they'll do the traditional story of Craven the Hunter? Do you think Spider-Man will be in this movie? And if so, will they use a new actor as Spider-Man, or will they use all the one of the Spider-Mans from the past? Yeah, go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. You know, I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys next Sunday on my week in review. You guys have a good week. Bye.
Hey nerds, if you like this video, go ahead and click that Geek What icon and subscribe. And if you like this video, go ahead and join me every Sunday with my week in review.